Hello, my name is Jonah.
And I'm Jonah's dad. And what are we watching, Jonah?
Star Trek.
Which Star Trek are we watching? Are you not talking to me right now?
No.
No? How have you been excited about this?
Yeah!
Yeah?
Dad, get out!
Really? Do you want me to watch it? We've got someone... Jank and Pog. We've got someone special here today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Who's here? Who's sitting next to you?
Grandad.
Yeah.
You're not special.
I am.
No.
Welcome to My Next Generation, the podcast where I'm introducing my 4-year-old son Jonah to Star Trek one episode at a time, and we started with Star Trek Prodigy. This is our 5th episode. There were 2 episodes, as always, that we watched with Star Trek Prodigy because they're only 25 minutes. So today we watched A Model Star, parts 1 and 2. And as you heard from the intro there, we had a little guest. We had Jonah's granddad join us on the sofa. And, well, that was a learning experience for me in terms of if we can do this podcast with someone else in the room. He was definitely high energy in this one.
Are we going to show Grandad Star Trek Prodigy?
Yes!
So, Jonah, do you
You
want to...
don't mess with the other one! Ah! Get
So,
out!
Jonah,
Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! What?
do you want to know a secret?
Meadow in your bed.
Grandad likes Star Trek. I know, right?
Step on me! Don't step on me!
So, Grandad,
Step on my granddad!
get on the sofa and we'll watch Star Trek. Don't put your granddad's foot in your face. Can you tell who's your favourite character? No, you don't want to tell him?
Walk!
Rok's your favourite character, yeah?
You can see who walked when we watch it.
Okay, shall we put it on? Oh, can you tell Grandad what's happened so far? What's been your favourite? Okay. You're so excited about watching this, aren't you?
But we're going to start off with A Moral Star Part 1. We pick up exactly where we left off, essentially after the last episode, which was one of my favorite ones, Time Amok, with the different timelines. And we come across the Dreadnought replication that was left at the end of that first episode. And it turns out it's not Dreadnought again. Instead, it's a message left by the Diviner offering to free the miners if the Protostars return to him. Now, the rest of the crew want to help the miners and are like, don't hesitate to say, we're going to go back. But Dal, he does hesitate. And this comes back down to the Kobayashi Maru. He sees this as his Kobayashi Maru, and he basically doesn't want to make a half-baked plan. But eventually he's like, yep, we're going to do this. They make a plan, which involves warping back to Tars Lamora, giving the Protostar to the Diviner, Gwyn joining the Diviner and Dreadnought, and letting them discover that the Protostar is actually missing from the ship, and that it's actually been consumed by Murf. And unfortunately, the Protostar does leave, but before leaving, they do destroy the power of the ship, which that dooms the miners and dooms the remainder of the crew of the Protostar. And that's where we leave part 1 of this episode. Now, I loved this. It was a great episode. Honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. It was a good part 1, but I think Jonah really enjoyed having his granddad in the room with him, and he enjoyed explaining things to him.
You know there's a bad guy in there, Grandad.
There is a bad guy, isn't there?
Yes.
Who's the bad guy?
We will find out when we start.
And this happened all the way through just the intro of the show and led to lovely moments like you just heard and like this.
Look how fast it's Grandad.
Very fast.
Faster than the speed light. Boo!
So yeah, I really, really loved this episode. I thought it was really, really fun. I thought it moved along with a really, really good pace. But what I really enjoyed is that it really felt like a culmination of everything that we had watched so far. Well, I say everything. When we get to part 2, that is the real culmination. But there's a lot of things that happen in this part 1 that you saw coming because of stuff that happened over the course of the season. It was really well built. I mean, the first big example is Dal leaving the room when the rest of the crew are going like, yep, we're going to go back and save the miners. And he gets confronted by Gwyn, who is like, I don't know if you're selfish or if you're genuinely scared. And it's because he's scared, because he's worked through that Kobayashi Maru as a captain in Starfleet, and every Starfleet cadet works through the Kobayashi Maru. They go through that no-win scenario to be confronted by what it means to lose, to be in that no-win scenario. And this is his real life no-win scenario, and he's just gone through that. He's trained for it. He's actually trained for this moment, and even though he's got the confidence of that training, he's still nervous. But he's not nervous because he doesn't want to do it, because he wants to run away, because he doesn't want to get it wrong, because he knows there's so much at stake. He wants to do it right. And this leads to what is a lovely moment again, is that realization that he doesn't need to do it on his own. And in fact, actually, the way to do it right is to do it with the rest of the crew. And it leads to this montage of all of them working together to come up with the plan, to actually execute the plan, to have all the pieces in place before they head back to Tars Lamora. And watching this with Jonah, he was enthralled. He had a smile on his face, like he understood that they were actually working together as a crew. And as a dad, seeing my son taking that message of working together as a team, but that everything that you've done up to this moment leads to these moments, that they've worked together, they've learned together, they've learned to trust each other. Like, all of it has led to this, and that working together team is going to be ultimately how they win. What has been really interesting, though, is one of the things that I love about Star Trek, and one of the reasons I really, really want to introduce this show to him, is that Star Trek isn't about defeating the bad guy, so to speak. Like, it's not about a big showdown or anything like that, which, okay, I know this is a showdown, but what they're doing is they're not planning to beat the diviner. They're planning to save save the miners. And this was quite an interesting one to sort of like try and explain to Jonah. Now, he's at an age where he's watched a lot of action stuff and everything like that. And he's like, oh, they're going to kill the bad guy. And I have to be like, no. Starfleet doesn't do that.
They're going to kill them, right?
Starfleet doesn't try to kill people. It tries to rescue people.
Now, I will say, I've got to say this straight off the bat, I'm not a fan of my 4-year-old son talking about killing people. I don't know where this has come from. I think there's maybe some influences at nursery that talk in certain ways. And boys being boys, they watch certain things and take it up. However, I feel like Star Trek can act as that countenance to that counterpoint to that type of rhetoric, that type of thinking, is that we don't think like that. We don't aim to do that. What we're trying to do is the good thing, which is helping people and being better than the bad guys. And ultimately seeing that bad guys cannot win because they are just doing bad things. And also, this is the interesting thing about Star Trek as well. Like, Star Trek isn't full of bad guys; it's full of bad situations, and we see team crews come together to work through these bad situations. So that's the message I'm hoping that he actually gets from this, and this phase that he seems to be going through, which I don't like. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like. I'm hoping that Star Trek can act as that counterpoint to it all.
Is that the end?
No, we're still going. Don't worry.
Where are they?
They've gone back to the mines at the beginning. Do you remember at the beginning, the one that they escaped from? They've gone back.
And when we get back to the mine, obviously, it doesn't seem to be done. Like, the plan doesn't seem to go to what we think might happen. And instead, Gwyn seems to give up and join the diviner, leaving her crew stranded at Tars Lamora. But then this all turns out to be a ruse. It turns out to be a trick. But at one point, we see a shot of the Protostar warping away. And like, Jonah's got a very strong sense of right or wrong. And even though he likes this crew and he sees the diviner as the bad guy, he has an insight to sort of how they got to the ship in the first place.
Well, they stole it.
Yeah.
He found it in a hidden cave and they stole it.
So overall, I enjoyed this episode a lot, but let's hear from Jonah.
Now it's the end.
So that was the end of the first episode we're going to watch. What did you think? What did you think of that episode? Did you like it?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you just winding me up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall you ask Grandad what his favourite bit was?
My favourite bit is when they tricked him.
Oh. Did you like that bit as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, they tricked the bad guy and now he's not got his proto warp, has he? They've kept it hidden.
But where did he hide it?
Inside Murf. Murf,
Inside.
Murf ate it. Murf ate it and he pretended to be Zero. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we ask Grandad if he thinks this was a good episode?
I thought it was a good episode.
I will cut this ball.
Yeah. Right,
I
shall we...
thought the ship looks a bit like Voyager.
It does look a bit like Voyager. Oh, you've not watched Voyager yet? Oh, that's going to be exciting for you. But yeah, it does look a little bit like Voyager. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Important question, Jonah.
But you know, that big robot got the biggest ship ever.
He does have the big ship, the Red 12. It's huge, isn't it?
Bigger than my house.
Bigger than your house. Absolutely bigger than your house.
But the Protostar's the same size as my house.
I think the Protostar might be a bit bigger than our house as well. Does this episode get a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Can you say it?
Thumbs up and down.
Thumbs up and down. Why is a thumbs up?
Because they tricked the bad guy.
And why the thumbs down?
Because they gave the set back.
Oh, those are good reasons. I like that. Okay, do you think they're going to get the ship back in the next episode?
No.
No. Shall we find out?
Because then they're going to push. Hiya, that bad guy.
Okay, shall we find the...
Not the face on.
Let's watch the next episode and find out.
Today, this was not going to be scary.
It's not going to be scary. It's going to be okay. And besides, you're sitting here with Daddy and Grandad. So if you get scared, what do you do?
Tell nobody.
You have a big cuddle, okay?
Or hide behind you.
Or hide behind my head like you have been.
So moving on to part 2 of A Moral Star. In this one, we see the Protostar return to Tars Lamora after it had been revealed that Gwyn was essentially stalling for time and was still on the side of the Protostar crew. And during the sort of return back, the diviner reveals essentially that he's come from the future to try and save his people and that Starfleet are the ones responsible for their planet being wiped out, which is a big reveal for Gwyn because she assumed that now and then in the present day that their planet had been destroyed, but she could actually go there now. We also see back on Tars Lamora, the crew try to work to get all the miners on the ship as it's the safest place to be. And we also see Rok and Jankin Pog try to fix the power on the ship. And again, we'll come back to it later, but it's another example of what's been building up over the season paying off in this episode. Now, during the point where we find out sort of the history of the diviner, it's all done within the holodeck of the Protostar, which has come back to Tars Lamora. And Dal manages to get his way back onto the ship with Zero. And the way that they actually end up defeating the diviner is that Zero reveals his true form to the diviner, which drives him mad. And unfortunately, Gwyn actually sees a glimpse of the reflection of the comm badge of Zero, which isn't enough to send her mad, but it does wipe her memory of the event of what happened, which is annoying because the diviner actually revealed the Grand Master plan, why he wanted the Protostar all along, which is that he's made the Protostar into a weapon and it will destroy Starfleet from the inside. So that was the episode. And again, I enjoyed this one, and it was a good follow-up to part 1. I can see why they split it up into 2 parts. And as I said, a lot of stuff paying off from earlier in the season. But once again, I just really, really enjoyed Jonah and Grandad watching it together as well.
Can we tell Grandad, so your favourite bit was when Jankum accidentally shot himself with a phaser?
Yes, we did.
This point, Jonah's acting it out.
And your favourite character is Rok.
Yes.
Because she's very smart and she's strong.
Yeah.
Also, not to mention that he was climbing on my head at this point. He was a very energetic little boy today. At one point, he was, during the intro for the second episode for part 2, he started imitating the Protostar.
Are you pretending to be the Protostar?
Yeah.
Come sit down. Come on. Crash landing. Oh, there we go.
So once again, this was an episode where we saw, as I mentioned, things that have been building up this season, things set up earlier on, finally paying off. And the biggest example is in Rok. So Janken and Rok are ordered by Dal to go repair the engine. So they go together with Murf as well. And of course, the default is Rok holds the door because she's big and strong, while the Watchers, who have now been reactivated, are trying to break in. And Jankum, because he was originally supposed to be the engineer, he's supposed to try and fix it. But he comes across a situation where he can't fix it. His percussive maintenance won't work on the situation. And he does something unexpected. He actually turns around and says that Rok should have a go. Like, what should happen? And Rok, because she's had this time all by herself in Time Amok, where she's learned all of this stuff, and she's become really a genius, essentially. She comes up with a plan on how to actually reactivate the engines and get power back to the ship. And Jankum, putting ego aside, which again, another character that had ego at the beginning, he was looking out for himself. But as time has gone on, as he's worked with this crew, he turns around and he goes, nope, we'll do what you do. I'll hold the door. And together they managed to fix the problem. They restore power. And again, Jonah was really enjoying this moment. We had the Watchers sort of trying to break through, so we had enjoyed that. But he also found it really, really funny to sort of see how Jankum and Rok interacted. But I think what was really nice is that he really does like Rok. And initially he liked Rok because she was big and she was strong. And he does like Rok's now grown and changed as a character and changed as a person and is not what you expect. And now he gets to see her actually fulfill her potential and actually do what she wants to do and actually be useful in another way aside from being big and strong. And I really liked that sort of breaking of, this is what someone looks like, so we assume this thing, breaking the assumptions of someone to actually see them actually perform what they can do. And I think for him, that was really, really great to see. Other side of the sort of thing that happening on Tars Lamora is just Zero and Dal being Zero and Dal, which we've seen since the beginning, working out how to get everybody, all the miners together off the ship. And when they come in close proximity to people, of course, the comm badges let them talk to people and let people understand each other. Leads to a humorous moment where two miners who didn't understand each other now understand each other. And there's so much they wanted to say to each other. Lovely little moment. But again, it leads to a nice moment where Dal realizes that he can use the manacles to essentially be a universal translator and everyone can understand each other. And this all pays off with the miners managing to come together to defeat Dreadnought, who's now beamed down to get the Protostar core out of Murf. Now, unfortunately, they do manage to get the core, but it leads to a bigger sequence now that the power has been restored to the ship.
So he's got the proto core, so he can go to proto warp soon.
But what are they doing?
I don't know. What are they doing?
I don't know.
They're going to go save her.
Why are they using his ship?
Yeah, they're using his ship, the bad guy's ship. Why? Because that's the only ship they've got. Oh, it transformed.
I already know. Wait, what has happened?
It went to warp.
So yeah, they go to warp and they go off to save Gwyn, which leads to the sequence where obviously Zero reveals himself, the Diviner goes mad, and Gwyn also loses her memory. And again, as we were watching this, Jonah really, really entranced at points, but his attention started to wane. Now, bless Grandad, he was sharing information about Star Trek as well, because Grandad's a big Star Trek fan, and obviously there's some legacy characters in this show.
I don't Huh?
What's her name?
Janeway.
Janeway, yeah. Grandad knows Janeway.
How?
That's what the Star Trek...
He was the captain of Voyager.
Yeah.
So, of course, the episode ends with Zero making Diviner go mad, Gwyn turning out only to have forgotten part of it, which we sort of recapped earlier on. And I love this ending. The Diviner is defeated, but he's not killed. And I think that's such an important thing, for, again, just to emphasize what I said earlier on. I think it's such an important thing for Jonah to see, that the bad guy doesn't have to die. Like, this is not the way that things have to happen. And that Starfleet, especially in Star Trek, we try to avoid that. We try to make sure. I mean, listen, Wrath of Khan, yeah, I know. First Contact, yes, I know. The movies tend to have those deaths. But, you know, definitely in the TV shows, the TV episodes, that's not the way things generally happen. Obviously, you try to not have any loss of life on any side, and you try to work towards that, and that, you know, Starfleet sort of values life. And I really love that that's part of this finale of this half of the season. And yeah, I just hope that he's taking that on board. However, the most exciting thing happens after, you know, we see the Diviner left behind on Tars Lamora by himself. We see the miners take off with their ship, and we see the Protostar crew back together and Gwyn back on her feet. There is just one more scene.
Where's that?
Admiral.
It's Admiral Janeway.
That's the real Janeway.
Oh.
She's looking for Chakotay.
That's a cool set.
That's the Dauntless. Whoa! Did you see how fast that one was?
In a flash of an eye.
It's faster than the walk speed.
What?
It's faster than walk speed.
It is faster than warp speed.
What the hell?
What the heck?
And unfortunately, this is the moment that I lost Jonah, and we weren't able to have our sort of usual discussion at the end of the episode. But I will tell you, he told me that the episode did get a thumbs up because the good guys won and the bad guy lost. So he did enjoy it. I think it was a very good episode myself. And as a mid-season finale, I thought it was a really good way to sort of finish off the beginning of the show. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season works itself out, how it pans out. And sharing that with Jonah. Now, this was an interesting week for me to do this. Obviously, usually I try to make this podcast go out on a Monday. We're doing it a little bit later than normal. We didn't get to do it the weekend because grandparents were visiting. And whenever grandparents come to visit, Jonah, he absolutely adores them. So he goes into overdrive and he just wants to spend all his time with them. He wants to do loads of things. And so sitting down to watch an hour of Star Trek is the last thing that I want to force him to do. So I thought I could do it today, but he also wanted to share it with Grandad. And this was the lovely thing. I wanted to share Star Trek with him. And now he wants to share Star Trek with Grandad, even though he doesn't know that Grandad's watched it before. But it's still lovely that he's like, I want to watch this with my granddad. He's never seen this before. However, that being said, there's this sort of dichotomy of he wants to share it with Grandad. He wants to talk to his daddy about it. He also has a lot of energy when his granddad is around and wants to play and doesn't want to sort of focus. And, you know, it is a lot to sit for an hour with it. So unfortunately, I did lose him. And we didn't manage to get his thoughts on the end of that. It's part 2 episode. But what I did take away from it is that he was so excited this weekend about seeing Star Trek, about watching it, but he was really excited about sharing it with someone else as well. And for me, it was like, I'm so excited about sharing Star Trek with him. And just seeing him actually be excited about sharing it with someone else as well, just really, it meant a lot to me. And it was just this lovely moment. And it was lovely for Grandad as well to be part of it, especially that he is a big Star Trek fan himself, having watched all of it, basically, apart from Prodigy. He's never seen Prodigy, but he has no reason to have watched it. It is aimed at children. And one of the things that I did actually message him tonight to be like, hey, I am going to try and make sure that you don't appear in the podcast as much, but he's actually said it's fine. So he's happy to be in here. He thought it was funny where at the very beginning there, and just mentioned that he loves him to bits. And I mentioned to him that, obviously it's a very fun show. I like Prodigy. It's a fun show. It's definitely aimed at kids, but I feel like it's a very Star Trek show. And I think this first half of the season has really built up to that. And he responded saying, it's a good introduction to the Star Trek world. Not that we are indoctrinating him. Well, it worked with my wife, his daughter, and look where that led. Listen, I know that this is a little bit of indoctrination for a 4-year-old to be watching Star Trek, but you know what? Why else do we have children if not to share the things that we love with them? And, growing up for me, Star Trek was that thing that I loved, and it's always been with me and something that I've always enjoyed. Even when there was the years where I tried to deny being a Star Trek fan, and I wrote a whole show about it called Still a Fan, and you did very well. I'm very proud of it. But, I'm not going to let those years where I was ashamed of being a fan or pretending not to be a fan affect me, and I'm not going to let them affect Jonah as well. If he enjoys Star Trek, he's going to get to watch it, and if he doesn't, then we'll stop. That's the thing, and that's a key thing. I've been really enjoying seeing some of the discourse around this podcast. There's been some people who have left some comments on YouTube, and I really, really appreciate everyone who has. Some lovely ones talking about how nice it is to hear me share this. And then I had a dichotomy of two opinions in the space of 2 days on the podcast. And one was saying that basically they watched TNG when they were very, very young, from 5 years old. So there's no reason why he couldn't watch TNG. And listen, I don't entirely disagree with that. I was very young when I watched TNG. But my whole thing is that there is a show aimed for kids. Let's start him on the show that is aimed for kids. The other opinion that I got was one, I'm going to read this one. I would absolutely not let my 4-year-old be watching Prodigy. Prodigy is a program aimed for 10-year-olds to 20-year-olds, which I found that wild as an age range that they did. It's aimed, in the UK, it's a PG, which means it's parental guidance. It's up to the parents to sort of support their children and decide if it's suitable for them or not. I genuinely believe it is suitable for Jonah. I think he can, yes, there are some moments that are he's been scared of, but I also believe that he can handle it, and that he has handled it, and he's shown that. And he said it has some pretty adult, following on this comment is, by the way, it has some pretty adult themes. It has betrayal. It has graphic dangers. It has issues of parental control and alienation. And season 2 will be incomprehensible to a 4-year-old. It has to do with time travel, paradoxes, multiple versions of reality. Give him something like Muppets in Space. Give him something that was designed for his age level. Listen, look, my boy watches plenty at his age level. His favorite shows are obviously Paw Patrol, because 4 years old, but he gets to watch Little Einsteins as an older show. He likes to watch. He likes to watch Stillwater. He likes to watch Bluey. He likes to watch Hey Dougie. He likes to watch a lot of shows that are aimed. He watches a lot of nature shows. He watches Wonder Pets in the City. There are so many age-appropriate shows that he watches. However, that being said, there's nothing wrong with introducing things that may be slightly more advanced. Listen, I'm not going to sit down and make my 4-year-old watch Pulp Fiction. That's not what I'm going to do. In fact, I very much said in the first episode, I didn't want to introduce him to the next generation because I felt that was way too advanced for him. That's way too much for him. But I feel like Prodigy, it is a kid's show. It is aimed at children. And yes, it does have some quote unquote adult themes in it. But I also think that's good for him to start learning these things as well. It has some wonderful lessons in it so far that have come through, and I think he's picking up on them, which is really nice. But right now he's enjoying the visuals, he's enjoying the jokes, he's enjoying the action, and he is getting the idea that there is a problem to be solved, so we work through it, and he's enjoying seeing them come together and solve these problems, whether it is defeating the bad guy or whether it is working through different time streams to bring everybody back. enjoying that. And whilst he may not understand the intricacies, and he may not be able to log on to Reddit and have a long debate about certain things, he is getting it. He's enjoying it. And for me, that's enough. And if I felt like he wasn't enjoying it, if I felt like, to be quite frank, I ask him every time, do you want to keep doing this? He says yes. He wants to keep watching it. And he also wants to keep talking on the microphones. He enjoys putting the microphone on, and he knows that people are listening to him. So I just find that the two comments there were absolutely wild. One saying, TNG, go ahead, 5 years old, not a problem. And the other one being like, I wouldn't let a 4-year-old watch a kids show, which I found absolutely insane. Now, that being said, we are halfway through the first season of Prodigy. We've got 10 more episodes left, which will be 5 more episodes in this first season of My Next Generation. And then, of course, we will move on to season 2 of Prodigy. I'd love to hear from you, the listener, the viewer. I'm personally thinking we might touch on the animated series just to keep the animation on the go, but I'm also tempted to go all the way back to the original series, mainly because I think storytelling in the 60s is a little bit more, I don't think it's as scary. Okay, the man trap might be considered a little bit scary, but I think it's a bit more obvious that it's not real, and it might be a little bit easier going than, say, TNG episode, first season 1. So I'd love to know what you think. So if you're on Spotify, you can leave a comment on the podcast. You can message me on Threads, or if you're listening in on YouTube, leave a comment below as well. I'll pin a comment there for you to get involved in the chat. But if you've enjoyed this podcast and you want to support me, support Jonah as well, go ahead and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening in on. Leave a comment, and if possible, please leave a review. Even if you just tap 5 stars, that is helpful. If you want to leave a comment, that is even better, but absolutely no pressure. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.